Join the team.
Hey, TCG Review, and we're going to take a look at a brand new game from Fantasy Flight that is called Star Wars Unlimited. Now, this may be something that you have already heard of. This might be new for you. It's probably not new for you. This is something that has made definitely some waves in the board game community. It has made some waves in the TCG community. We'll talk more about that here in a second. But this video is really to talk about, you know, what do people really want to do with this platform, right? Because when you enter the TCG space, that's a completely different space from your board game space. There's a lot of folks on the TCG side, collectible CCG side, that are going to get into this stuff only for collectability perspective. They're going to get into this stuff only for investment and resell. And they're going to get into it to actually play the game. So it's a little bit of a different space, I think, that Fantasy Flight's getting into now. It's going to be interesting to see if they have the proper management to be able to handle their own in this arena, because it's a very different thing from coming out with something and competing in the board game arena with a bunch of other board game companies and competing against card games that are more of a board game. They're not really TCGs. They're not CCGs. It's, you know, that's where they've been kind of in the past, is creating really cool card games and really cool little fun games with dice and whatnot. They did another little Star Wars thing. But this is a completely different arena they're in now. Now they're competing with the Lorcanas and the Magics and the Flesh and Blood and the One Piece. That's where they're at now. And it'd be very interesting to see, do you just see all this stuff show up in bargain bins 2 years from now and they don't even get past the third set release? Or they're at the third set release and they're literally trying to give this stuff away? Or is this going to be something that fans are really going to rally around? It's going to get a really cool fan base, and it's going to last. And it's going to be something that 5, 6, 7, 10 years from now, people are still looking forward to that next Star Wars Unlimited set release to get their booster boxes. So that's kind of the interesting thing, I think, from my perspective. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. We're going to talk a little bit about, you know, what are different ways to look at this. We are going to look at the products that are in front of us. I'm probably going to open up the soft crate boxes, the 2-player starter box, and then I'll have a separate video where we'll get into at least one of those booster boxes. We'll break open, try to get some cool cards and get enough cards to kind of build out our decks. And then we'll decide if we want to open that secondary booster, or we just keep it as sealed, throw it in the closet, see where we're at in a few years. I think folks from a TCG perspective will probably want to go out, and they might want to go all in, right? Start to buy a bunch of these booster boxes, buy cases of these, think it's going to be the next big thing. If you're one of these folks that is coming from this angle, coming to this game from the angle of, oh my gosh, you know, awesome IP, hot new TCG, this could be the next thing. I'm going to go out and buy 10, 15, 20 of these booster boxes to have all this sealed product for the first set release, and in 5 years I'm going to sell every box for like $1,000. I think you're going to end up in the hole. I think that's going to end up being a massive mistake. I don't think that's going to happen here with this game. I do not think that this game is going to take off like that. I think the smart thing is buy a couple booster boxes, open one, hopefully you get some high dollar cards if you're going for it from just a collectability perspective and you want to grade them, or you just want to sell those cards and get all your money back and pay for, you know, your starter decks and your playmats and everything else, then you could do that. If you want, you know, like I did, I bought a couple booster boxes. I'm going to open one. I'm going to save one. I'm going to save one for a little bit, right? Kind of see how things shape out. But I just don't believe, and I know I might get some flack for this because there are a lot of people that are really loving this game. I do not believe this is going to be like another major TCG. I just don't. because they're entering an arena that is ruthless right now with a lot of other big TCGs. And, you've got other ones that have been kickstarted recently, like Sorcery and Altered, that haven't even really made their mark yet, that are going to be huge. So it is going to be difficult, I think, for them to really stay relevant for long periods of time, unless they do some pretty significant changes and some pretty significant different things. The game, yes, is fun. It's an enjoyable game, absolutely. But I'm going to be honest, the cards are boring. The cards are boring. Some people love the artwork. Some people hate the artwork. I think it's okay. I think the artwork is fine. I think it has a real nostalgia feel to it. I think it is unique. I mean, I understand where they kind of are with that. It's tough, right? Like, you don't want to come out with all your artwork looking like Magic. You don't want to come out with all your artwork being more anime style like One Piece or maybe some of these other games. You don't want to just have your artwork, Sorcery kind of went with a very unique type style. So they're trying to kind of develop their own look and feel and style with the artwork. And I think that's smart. I can totally respect that. But I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say you put these cards out in front of you and you're like, oh my God, look at the artwork. It's so amazing. Like, it's not there from that perspective. And I think that's a little bit of a mistake, because if you want to make it big in the TCG realm, you got to have those cards that pop. That's critical. You also have to have more variation between your most basic common card and your best card. And quite frankly, the variation between a basic common card and a showcase is very little, right? Like, they don't have these like tricked out cards with texture and 3-dimension and holographic, and they just don't have any of this, right? The cards feel very general. They feel very basic. And if they really want to make a punch right with this, they need to release for set 2, set 3. They got to start putting those cards in there that make you go wow when you see it, right? They got to do, well, they don't have to, but think about if they did like the serialized cards. Everybody loves that from a collectability perspective. And it is important, because you could come from this from the angle of, oh, well, forget the collectability. It's not about that. Forget the people that just want to get cards that are worth a lot of money and resell them. Like, forget all that. It should just be a fun game that people buy, and buy as much of it as you want and have fun. Yes, completely agree with you. But if you want that game to actually live longer than 3 or 4 years, this type of game, then you need to prioritize some of those other things. Those other things have to be part of the mix. And that's not my opinion. That is fact. Look at any long-running TCG game that millions of people love. Take your pick. There's lots of them out there. They all have to balance this mix of wow, collectability, good gameplay, new and fresh mechanics. It all has to be there. So that's definitely one of the things I think when we think about, like, is this game going to be something that, is going to stick around? I hope it is, because I get excited about, holy crap, what if the next release is like the Endor set? Like, give me an Ewok deck. Let me build a Wicket Ewok deck. How amazing would that be? Let me build a pure droid deck. How amazing would that be? So it's like, these are all the ideas. Give me the Darth Maul deck. This is all the stuff that, like, it goes through my mind as I'm like seeing the potential of what could be here. And then imagine how you not only get those really cool cards, but you're able to like get amazingly awesome looking cards and artwork with that stuff. So the potential of what Fantasy Flight can do here with this IP and this game could be huge, right? It could be huge. But as of right now, I'm not seeing it, right? I'm not seeing it unless they start to do some of these other things. So that's kind of, I wanted to do kind of a little 10-minute or so intro here just on the talk about the game. I don't want to make a video where it's just all hype about how amazing this is and da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's a new game. It's a new TCG. I think a lot of people in the miniature space and in the board game space are going to be really, really overly excited about this because they probably are not in the TCG space as well. So they don't have a lot to compare it against. Maybe they are, right? But maybe some aren't. Where, you know, I know the board game space. I know the TCG space. I play in both of them regularly. So when I see a board game company, much like Ravensburger did with Lorcana, get into a completely different market and try to compete in a completely different market, well, now, you know, like, it's like I can see that. I can see the things that are working and the things that are not working. And it isn't just the hype of like, oh my God, there's this card game that's collectible and it's Star Wars. Okay, awesome. But it's got to have these other things if it's really going to have that longevity. And I really, really hope that they invest that time and that thought. And they have the proper management to be able to really push this one into the future, because it could be absolutely amazing. It really could be. So here's, you know, let's take a look at these, because they definitely have created some really cool initial release products. These little deck boxes are awesome. I'm glad I was even able to get my hands on them, because they're sold out almost everywhere. I got all my stuff here from Game Nerds just recently. Great little site there. And you can see, like, these are really cool boxes. They're pretty high quality. Okay, open it up. That's going to hold a full deck sleeved. And it even includes, which I thought was awesome, this extra little pocket in the back. Oh, and it's kind of branded Star Wars Unlimited in there as well. Nice little touch. And inside, you've got, there's just a little clip, right, that it has. You've got this little box here, got Darth Vader on it. That's pretty cool. There's the company there that makes it, that will hold your tokens, right? Hold all your little tokens and various different bits that you would have for your deck. There's other companies out there that are already making metal versions of the tokens that you can get. So, you know, I mean, there's definitely some investment that's happening in the game and in the industry around this game. So, you know, again, I don't want to be negative Nelly here. I really, really hope this works out, but it's just not going to if they don't manage it properly and they don't take all these different things into account of how to have a successful TCG. And making the statements already of, we're just going to print this to demand, is already a bad sign, right? Like, that's already a bad sign for, like, actually having a long-lived, super successful TCG. Okay, this one's really cool. I love this Darth Vader one. Look at the Death Star there. This is so cool. I really like this box. I may like this one actually a little bit better. Just the color scheme, having Vader with the stormtroopers right there on, or hang on, those are snow troopers right there on the front. This is very cool. I love these boxes, and I'm glad that I got them. I got them for $6.99 a piece too. What a great price. Those could have been much higher price than that. And then here is the Spark of Rebellion 2-player starter set. You're pretty much going to get your classic Luke Skywalker and your Darth Vader deck. I kind of feel like the Luke Skywalker deck is much cooler than the Darth Vader deck. If you look at Luke Skywalker, you get like droids, you get all the classic iconic characters, you get a bunch of cool like locations. Then we go over here to Darth Vader. You know, there's no Emperor. There's, you know, I guess you got the ATST. Force Choke is always cool. You got some various different, you know, cards and some admirals, but I don't know. The Vader deck doesn't seem as cool as the Luke Skywalker deck. So I'm actually more excited about the Luke Skywalker deck right now, which when I got this, I thought, oh, the Vader deck is going to be so awesome. Like, I can't wait to get into the Vader deck. But then I looked at the back of the box, and I'm like, well, I don't really know how cool that seems. So let's open it up and let's get in here and see some of these cards. Wow, that is... Okay, so... Alright, so each deck is its own there. Get everything out of the box. Now you are going to get a couple deck boxes in here. These are going to be pretty simple little paper deck boxes, but that's nice they included that, right? You got one for Luke, one for Vader. Pretty cool. It's going to hold the deck sleeved, right? Which is smart. Thank you for doing that, right? So it's going to hold that deck sleeved. You know, I hate it when I open these up and it just fits the unsleeved cards. It's like, how stupid of a design. But this has been designed right. It will fit the sleeved cards, and then you have your little tokens here that you'll be able to use while you're playing the game. You've got your quick start rule book that's going to have how to play the game and all the rules. And then one thing that I also really appreciated was the fact that they included some little paper playmats. Not every starter set's got these paper playmats, and I think it's just critical to include these. It's got everything on the back there that you would need of like where your cards go and whatnot, and then on the other side it's almost like a little poster, right? One of them's Vader and one of them's Luke, which mirrors the artwork that's on everything we've seen so far. So I thought that was done really well. That was nice that they thought through that. So from a product perspective, like in what they've released, that's looking pretty good. Like they did a good job with that. Let's look at these decks really quick, and then that's going to be it for this video. The next video we do will be the unboxing of one of these boosters. It'd be amazing if we got a showcase card, but it's probably not going to happen. Those are pretty rare, and they're pretty high dollar right now. So, you're always going to start off with your leader, our leader obviously being Luke. These cards are double-sided, so you'll have it on one side, you'll flip it over. But, you can see here's like a location, Cloud City. This is a great piece of, upside down there. This is a great piece of artwork here. You're obviously going to have multiple copies of specific cards. Yeah, got that R2-D2. I do like that piece, right? But then there's just other, that's kind of a cool piece of artwork. But you can see they've really chosen like a different kind of style to the artwork there. Some of it's cool, and some of it's not. Like some of it's just kind of generic looking, and I don't know. Like, this is where I think some people are going to love this, and some people are not. But I think they have the ability to continue to change these decks. That's horrible. Continue to change these decks. That's fantastic. I love this piece right here. I even like this piece, although it's a little, comic book cartoony. I really like this. And then there looks like something that's out of 1985. So the artwork's kind of all over the place, and maybe they release these newer sets and they kind of change up the way that the art looks. And then you'll have sort of this, like, when you have the artwork that looks like this, it's like, oh, that's from the original sets, and artwork that's a little bit, newer or different look. That'd be interesting to see. Like, do they actually change? Let me put these up front again. Do they actually change the artists and the artwork for every set that they put out? Because they clearly, have used a number of different artists in these cards. Which is smart, right? Like every TCG does that for the most part. And they've tried to keep, I think, a lot of it as consistent as they could for a specific style. But it'd be interesting if each set they release gets to be kind of a different style of artwork. That's another thing that could be cool. I do like that Vader. All right, so then now there's the same card. So you're going to see some of those cards that would be in either deck. I love the TIE Fighter. I'm not a fan of that. So you kind of, and I'll just kind of spin through here if you want to pause it. You can pause it to kind of see some of the artwork and the style, right? But you can see it's different. So I'm loving that. Oh, there is an Emperor card, an Emperor Palpatine. I didn't see that on the list. Okay. So those are 2 decks that are included, and again, nothing that wows in these either. Like, it would have been nice, it would have been nice for them to make the leader card, at least in the starter deck, something that was cold foiled or rainbow foiled. There's no foils at all in this, absolutely nothing. Where I think that's kind of a miss, right? You want someone to open up the starter deck and be like, "This looks awesome. Look at these rainbow foil cards. Ooh, this leader card is cold foiled with a little bit of 3D dimension on the lightsaber." Because you can do that. You can do that with today's tech on these cards. No problem, right? And that would have been really cool to open up the package and see something like that. But it's just not there. Now, in the booster box, there will be cards that will be foil. There will be cards that will be, they refer to as hyperspace, where they got like these little hyperspace kind of blast all the way around them. There will be cards, maybe not, that are called showcase, which are very nice, full art, borderless kind of setups. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, what a missed opportunity to not make at least this single card in the starter deck a cold foil with a little bit of pizzazz on that lightsaber, right? Or, they could even take the opportunity with the way these cards are designed, where like part of the card could be all cold foil or rainbow foiled, and everything else could be matte, which I think would be very cool. I've seen other games do that, where you don't have to actually cold foil or rainbow foil the whole card. You just do that to like a portion of the card, which I think would look really cool on the style of these cards and how they're designed. So you could have done that, right, for this intro set, but it wasn't done. So, like I said, I hope this ends up having some longevity. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm a huge fan of Fantasy Flight, and I want nothing but to see them be successful here. They are one of my favorite board game publishers of all time. I have all of their older games that they made. I will never get rid of them. They're like relics to me. So that's why maybe, I might be pushing a little bit harder here, because I want to see that right there really, really make it in this space and just blow the doors off of the TCG market with something that could be very, very cool. But I think they're going to have to manage some of this stuff from a marketing and a distribution perspective a little bit differently. So that's it, team. That is a Star Wars Unlimited video for today, where we looked at some of these things, had a little talk about this stuff. If you agree, you can comment below. If you disagree, you can comment below. It's perfectly fine. I'm open to anybody's thoughts on this. And then stay tuned, as we will do a video on opening up Spark of Rebellion, one of these booster boxes. I will pick one of the two, bust it open, and we are going for that showcase card. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get the Boba Fett showcase. I think it's going for like $405 or $500 right now. Some of these showcase cards are just going for enormous amounts of money, because they're pretty rare. I think it's 1 in every 8 booster boxes or something like that. They're pretty rare. So, all right, team. With that, keep rolling them crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time.